So, anyone here remember the car-based Mario parties? Yeah, them! Well, as it turns out, the higher-ups around here have demanded that I make a video about one of them. The thing is, I really don't want to play any of those Mario Party games. So how about I just won't? Is it possible to beat Mario Party 10 by doing absolutely nothing? The rules of this challenge will be as follows and come in two parts. Firstly, we are not allowed to do anything in any minigames. For most of them, that is as simple as not pressing any buttons. There are, however, some motion-controlled ones which could potentially be engaged with without pressing buttons. For those ones, our standard operating procedure will be placing our Wii remote on a flat surface for the duration of the minigame. The second factor to consider is the board. Obviously, we can't get away with pressing literally nothing during the board portion of the game, as that would result in the game being permanently stuck on our turn. Instead, we'll press whatever buttons are absolutely necessary to progress, usually A, and no more. In terms of implications, that means we will not be able to use any special dice. It'll also mean we have to go in whatever direction is selected by default at any intersections we come across, as well as being unable to interact with most of those lucky mini-star spaces, among a couple other things. To sum things up, we can't do anything in minigames and can't make any meaningful choices on the board. In spite of those limitations, our goal will be to win at least once in the Mario Party game mode on each of the 5 boards in the game. Speaking of which, I see no reason not to get right into it, and take a look at the first board, Mushroom Park. Alright then, here we are, alongside our rivals Rosalina, Daisy, and Waluigi, all set to be easy AI. As a reminder, in order to win a board, we'll need to accrue the most mini-stars by the time our road trip reaches its final destination. So how does our first attempt go? The first set of rules aren't earth-shattering, but do remind us just how bad at minigames we are in this challenge. This will almost certainly be a major issue going forward, as minigames are a major way to earn mini-stars. In that way, mini-stars are kind of like coins in the earlier Mario Party games. The major difference is the fact that mini-stars don't just give you the ability to buy the win condition, they directly are the win condition. When looking at it this way, it certainly seems like, at least on paper, Mario Party 10 could end up being quite ruthless, as coin collection was never a strong suit of ours in the other Mario Party challenges. In any case, life goes on, and after grabbing some minus stars, we find ourselves at the mini-boss. Mini-bosses in this game take the form of a glorified mini-game, with increased prizes. Unfortunately, each and every one of them is literally impossible for us to obtain a victory on. As such, we depart this mini-boss firmly in last place. The next thing that happens to our Luigi is he gets a chance to stop the spinning blooper on the board. This is something that we do actually have to do. That being said, I do believe this is something you can technically time to stop in an advantageous position for you. As such, to avoid influencing the game with my agency and timing skills, I opted to look away from the screen when taking this action. Even so, I was actually lucky enough to get the 10 mini-stars on it this time. While Luigi then loses some stars at the hands leaves of a piranha plant. Nice. Then we lose 10 mini-stars in a battle minigame we had no chance of winning. And then we lose a 2v2 minigame. And then we get stuck going through an 8- star ring. And then we of course end up losing the boss fight, leading to us taking 4th place, when all is said and done. Losing to Daisy 79-14. Well, nothing to do but try again. On the next attempt, we find out that landing on the lucky space, tied to the roller coaster, does nothing but give our opponents free mini-stars. Same applies to the pirate ship. Attempt 3 does give us a chance to double dip on this 10 mini-star ring towards the end, which unfortunately doesn't end up securing us a place above 4th. During attempt 4, I released Bowser, who took half of my mini-stars, which granted was only 1, but still, did he really have to kick a man while he was down? I'm already starting to get tired by the massive quantities of minigames I have literally no chance of winning, or even coming in anything other than dead last. I landed on this lucky space featuring brick blocks, which ends up being a random chance of getting 2, 4, or 6 mini-stars. You know, just like it normally is. The only difference is we don't get that pesky illusion of control over the situation. I was actually in first place right at the very end of this attempt, but got overtaken by Rosalina getting the stars for reaching the final boss, and the stars awarded to everyone else for doing better on the boss fight. And the bonus stars going to people other than me. As it turns out, 2 of the 5 on offer, the minigame and dice stars, I have literally no chance to win. The other 3 that can show up, the far star, slow star, and minus star, I can get, but have no better odds of getting than anyone else. So, on average, bonus stars are a net negative for us. Hopeless minigames abound on this attempt. What is this? A minigame I actually won? Well, that is certainly a welcome rarity. Not that it helped much in the long run. Oh, a reverse minigame. I should be great at this. I'm amazing at losing. Or, I could take first place. Thanks. What is there to even say about this attempt? I lost. Badly. Oh wow, I actually won a battle minigame on this attempt, and close to the end too. This might just work out. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Another battle minigame on literally the next turn? And of course, it's one that I have 0 chance of winning. So much for this attempt. And of course, when I land on a Bowser Jr. space, it does something like take half your mini-stars. But hey, at least that gets me a slow dice block going into the last third of the board that I can't use, followed by a minigame I can't win, and then Rosalina taking some minus stars. I guess that's okay. Then Bowser Jr. takes half of Daisy's mini-stars, and then half of Waluigi's mini-stars, and next thing I know, I'm grabbing the 10 mini-stars at the end of the board and going into the boss fight in first place. Is it happening? No. Waluigi won the boss fight and both bonus stars. And the game as a whole. It really is something to be reduced to 0 mini-stars by passing through a minus star ring twice in one turn, isn't it? Somehow I managed to end this attempt with 3 mini-stars in total. That is literally the fewest it is possible to have at the end of the game. In some ways, I guess that could be considered an achievement in and of itself. You know something's wrong when I'm happy to have wasted a minute of my life to end a minigame in a draw. Wow, am I actually in first place at the mini-boss fight? Well, that's a rarity. Not that it ended up mattering. It's amazing just how little the first 2/3 of the board actually matter. Take this attempt as an example. I'm in 4th place at this final checkpoint, and then what happens? There's a 3-way tie for first on this battle minigame, which is broken by a dice roll, which I win, yielding me 26 mini-stars. That puts me in first place going into my turn, which is an opportunity to gain 5 more mini-stars. My opponents very nearly force me to take some minus stars, but ultimately fail in that aim, and instead put me in a position to gain 10 mini-stars twice. Unfortunately, it looks like my 2nd place competition, Waluigi, is going to get that same opportunity. Luckily, he rolls a 1 on the backwards roll. The next turn, Daisy triggers the boss fight, with me still possessing an 11 mini-star lead going into it. Hopefully, it holds. Waluigi, my closest competition, does take first in the boss fight, which doesn't exactly bode well. Come on, bonus stars. The minus star goes to Rosalina. Okay. And the slow star goes to Daisy, which means ultimately, Luigi wins! And by 1 mini-star. That, my friends, is victory on 1 of the 5 boards we need to beat for this challenge. Maybe things will get easier from here on out. Let's certainly hope so. Welcome to Haunted Trail, a slightly longer, slightly spookier board. Let's see how the first attempt on it plays out. This first part has quite a bit of mini-stars to pick up if you get lucky on the turn order and die rolls. If you get unlucky, however, you may find yourself getting stuck with the boo, which siphons off 5 of your mini-stars every turn. There are a lot more intersections on this board, which is bad for us, since the AI can strategically use these splits in the paths to either snag mini-stars for themselves, or leave us stranded right in front of minus stars. We, of course, can't really strategically use these, since we always go the same direction, no matter what. For the second round of ghosting of the course, I am unfortunately the one to pick it up. On my next turn, I unleashed Bowser. Luckily, he didn't take any mini-stars from me, because I didn't have any. I got 8 immediately afterwards, though, and then Bowser took pity on me and gave me 10 more. My next turn featured Boo taking away 5, only for them to be replaced by 10 and a chance to steal. Unfortunately, I only ended up stealing 5. Ultimately, though, all of that wasn't enough to get me out of last place by game's end. I guess we'll need to try again. At least on attempt number 2, I wasn't the only one haunted by Boo. Still got 4th, though. It's insane! Even in the rare event that 3 of the 4 of us lose the mini-boss fight, I still lose the most somehow. I was actually quite competitive for much of the opening half of this attempt. Then Bowser organized a battle minigame for half of the mini-stars, which I lost, and never fully recovered from. Though, if this theft had been for half instead of 10, I might have had a chance. Don't you love it when you land on a Bowser space 1 space out from an intersection? And you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I wouldn't be surprised if I'm the first person in the entire world to have landed on that Bowser space. Because, like, seriously, why would any intelligent thinking person choose to land on a Bowser space 1 space out from an intersection? Like, that is you choosing to land on a Bowser space at that point. You know what annoys me the most about these mini-boss fights? It's not that I have 0 chance to win them. It's that the easy AI is so bad and slow that they drag on way longer than they have any right to. It's always annoying to find ourselves stuck competing in a battle minigame for half the stars that's impossible for us to win. It's then also annoying, though honestly not all that impactful, to get stolen from while in last place. As it turns out, much to my chagrin, staring down a tree doesn't really do anything. Those Bowser Space events can be quite impactful towards the end of the game. After a couple of those, I'm only 1 mini-star behind first place going into the final boss. Which, of course, is in reality a terrible position to be in, since bonus stars are on average a net negative for us, and the boss always showers mini-stars on everyone but us. Welcome to another loss. This attempt features a very early Bowser release, which might be beneficial for us. He does add a lot of chaos, which might benefit us. And then I somehow won Balloon Blast Bash. I mean, I'll take it. I'm also able to gain a considerable amount of mini-stars from the mini-star rings this time around. The battle minigame, Ba-Bomb Combo, by sheer luck goes quite well. Then soon after I get to double dip on the final mini-star ring. Daisy steals half of Rosalina's mini-stars, catapulting her to first place. Then Waluigi gets 10,000 mini-stars. Actually, it turns out he only got 1, but, you know, still. That passes the turn to me, and thus allows me to claim the 10 mini-stars just before the boss, narrowly putting myself in first. Rosalina ends up winning this fight just as I had hoped, but will it be enough? Let us look to the bonus stars to find out. The slow star is awarded to Waluigi, and the dice star goes to Rosalina, which means the ultimate victor is a tie between Luigi and Waluigi. And you know what? I'll take it. A tied victory is still a victory. But hey, I guess it turned out just like they always say. 59th time's the charm. In any case, time to dive into the next board. Whimsical Waters is, in some ways, theoretically, our ideal board, as it's all about lack of control. The good-bad intersections are completely random. The chest lotteries are the same way. In fact, outside of choosing the die you roll, I don't think there is actually any opportunity for a meaningful choice on this board. That's great for us since we can't make meaningful decisions anyways. So hopefully, this will prove to be a great equalizer. That, of course, doesn't necessarily mean that this board is an instant win, though. Unbridled randomness can cut against us just as easily as it cuts against our opponents, but it does give us a real chance. Even if we're in 4th going into the last third of the board, we can still get a jackpot and steal from 2nd place on our last few turns, setting us up quite nicely going into the boss fight, which we obviously don't win, but we did earn a bonus star and had a decent enough cushion to secure a win here in Whimsical Waters on attempt number 6. That brings us to the 4th board on our journey, Airship Central. And let me tell you, the 3 parts of this board are very distinct from one another. Let's begin with part 1. Here we find a fleet of airships constantly shifting around in the skies. The gameplay application of this is that dice rolls and the ability to influence them becomes paramount. On most of the other boards you can find mini-star circles. In those cases, when you're nearing one of them, there are only 2 real outcomes that can happen on your roll. Either you get them, or you leave them for one of your opponents to get, which can either be positive or negative depending on if they are mini or minus stars. Here, though, there are even more possibilities. One of them is, of course, just getting them for yourself, which is the same as ever. Where things get more interesting is when you don't reach the stars, because often there will be 2 ways to miss. Those ways would be either failing to get onto the next ship at all, and getting on the ship, but missing the stars. Take this example. Here, rolling a 6 will secure Luigi 8 mini-stars. Obviously that's pretty good, if a bit unlikely. The next best roll, though, would be a 1, because that would keep the vehicle on the current ship, thus allowing the golden ship to move out of the way and be replaced in our route by a much less valuable ship for our opponents to experience. Arguably, the worst rolls to get here would be a 3 through 5, because a roll like that would get us no mini-stars, as well as leave our opponents the opportunity to cash in on the wealth from the golden ship. Now, of course, we can't really do anything to affect our odds here, since we always just roll a standard 6-sided die. But this still matters because our opponents can make such calculations, and act accordingly, putting us at a disadvantage. The second third is all about this aggressive airship, whose whole thing is targeting various spaces and making it so that if you land on them, you lose half of your mini-stars. When it's our turn to go, we generally have a 33% chance of landing on one of these spaces, and our opponents, of course, can bend those odds to be much more favorable with their dice. So technically we're at a disadvantage here. However, in the event that we do just end up coming out luckier than everyone else, such a severe penalty for misfortune can help tilt the game back in our favor. Finally, the last third is a bit more standard and calm sprint to the finish. That's not to say it can't be extremely swingy, though. The mini-star rings are pretty big here, and there normally isn't a shortage of Bowser spaces. And theft. Seriously, between competitors losing half of their mini-stars, as well as things happening to Luigi like double-dipping on a 10 mini-star ring and winning a battle minigame for half of the mini-stars, a Luigi can go from 4th to 1st in time for the final boss, pick up 0 bonus stars, and then still win the board overall. Only one remains now. Chaos Castle. This, my friends, is not a very generous board. If you're looking for mini-star rings around every corner, you won't find that here. In the beginning, it's lava bubbles, which, to keep my personal timing skill out of the equation for, I looked away from the TV when I was, having to jump over them, and then just jumped at a random time. In the middle, it's skewers, which knock you back and take 10 mini-stars in the process. Then at the end, it's Bowser himself and his destruction of half the mini-stars belonging to anyone unfortunate enough to end their turn in his sights. It is certainly a chaotic board, which you would think would be to our advantage, but here's the nasty thing about the type of luck this board calls on. Since most of its events, aside from freeing the Toad, are so negative, it means for us to have a fighting chance, what we really need is for bad stuff to happen to our opponents. Here's the thing though, to have a shot due to the luck of something good happening to us, that just requires a good thing happening to one person. However, if the basis of your success is tearing down your opponents, you need each and every one of them to be affected, as well as for the bad luck to not spill over onto you. The odds of that are considerably smaller. Nevertheless, we can't stop now. As such, we shall press on and hope Lady Luck is indeed on our side and very, very kind to us. I present to you, by means of a 10 mini-star ring and a subsequent theft, a rare attempt where I was in first place going into the home stretch. What followed was about the most comical sequence possible of all four of us double-dipping on another mini-star ring, followed by my closest competition for first, losing half her mini-stars, and then triggering the final boss. The fight ended with me involved in a 3-way tie for last place, which was decided by a die roll, which I lost, clearing the way for everyone except me to get bonus stars and Waluigi to win. And I was so close. Here on attempt 33, the opening is, I guess, fairly standard. We do end up collecting from a couple of mini-star rings, but we also end up losing some to the lava bubbles. Of course, based on previous experience, it would seem that the first third of a given board is generally pretty inconsequential. As we try scaling the walls, we are lucky enough to trigger Toad and consequently gain 20 mini-stars. In general, this whole scaling the wall process actually goes quite smoothly for everyone, and culminates in me being able to steal half of Waluigi's mini-stars, putting me in first place going into the final third. Or so I thought would be the case before a battle minigame triggered right before the home stretch, which takes the form of Fuzzy Flyers. A minigame we have never won outside of the context of a reverse minigame, which in that context was still basically a loss because the goal was to lose. In any case, I certainly am not very optimistic about the outcome of this one, but as it turns out, I guess I should have been, because right here, right now, we did actually end up winning, for the first time ever, thus cementing our lead even further. Rosalina starts us off here on this next section by getting completely roasted. I'm next and also feel the heat. Oh, and what do you know, I've landed on a turn order shuffling space, which gave me another turn, causing me to lose half of my mini-stars again, and putting me in 3rd place. My rivals then play around with this mini-star ring completely safe, and when my turn rolls around, I end up in the line of fire again, leaving me with only 10 mini-stars to my name. I ask the very serious question now, what is even the point of the first 2/3 of this board if bad rolls in the final section completely take you out of contention, regardless of how well you were doing before? It's ludicrous. Anyway, adding insult to injury would be the fact that the space I landed on was specifically a Bowser space. I guess it is a battle for half the mini-stars though, so technically we might be able to come back. What's the game? Oh, Ba-Bomb combo. We can technically win this, so let's not give up hope just yet and see what happens. 38? That is not bad, and in fact does win us the game. Nice. Waluigi then double dips on mini-stars before Daisy races to her own destruction and another Bowser space. This one brings about a reverse minigame. Specifically, Ba-Bomb combo. Again. Well, we can technically lose this, so let's not give up hope just yet and see what happens. 36 is pretty high. I'm not exactly optimistic here, nor should I have been as it turns out. Luckily, the loser, or winner, the person who obtained the mini-stars was Rosalina, who was in last place before the minigame. She then lost basically all of her winnings at Bowser's hands the very next turn. Then Daisy loses a similar amount on her next turn. Rosalina could very easily get to the boss and end this board on this turn. While I am in first place, that likely wouldn't be good for me as I'm tied with Waluigi right now, who would likely gain more mini-stars from the boss fight and bonus stars than me. Luckily, Rosalina rolls a 1, which leads to her losing 75% of her mini-stars in a single turn, leaving the door wide open for me to trigger the boss and go into that fight with a 10 mini-star lead. Unfortunately, as per usual, I get dead last in the boss fight, and my closest competition, Waluigi, wins it. It's all down to bonus stars now. The slow star goes to me, and the far star goes to Daisy. Meaning that the winner of this final board is Luigi. So, after nearly 140 attempts when you add all the boards together, we finally have an answer to the question posed at the start of this video. Yes, it is possible, albeit extremely unlikely, to beat Mario Party 10 by doing absolutely nothing. Am I proud to have achieved such a feat today? No, not really. All I'm particularly left with is a creeping dread that I could have spent all those hours just infinitely more meaningfully. Nevertheless, I took on that task so that the rest of you don't have to. And if you appreciate that sacrifice I made for the sake of your entertainment, then please feel free to repay me in the form of likes, comments, and subscriptions. And until next time, I have been CMeeCraft, and I will have to consider how I'll specifically be trading my time to make the next video for you all to enjoy. Goodbye.
Yahoo! Yeah! I'm a superstar!